Hello, I'm Nick, welcome to the channel. The M5 Pro variant of the MacBook Pro landed with me yesterday morning, so since then I've been putting it through its paces in the form of local AI tests using LLM Studio, as well as some popular benchmarks that you may be familiar with. My particular M5 Pro comes with the 18 CPU cores as well as 20 GPU cores. It has 64GB of unified memory and a 2TB SSD. Now the 2TB SSD wasn't as big as an upgrade as it used to be, because now all the MacBook Pros come with 1TB as standard. Whilst on the subject of storage, we'll mention that the read and write speeds of the M5 series is around double that of the M4 equivalents due to upgrades from PCI Gen 4 to Gen 5 architecture. It's also worth mentioning that the more storage you have, the faster you'll go. This is due to the storage being made up of separate NAND chips, so the more you have, the more parallel data lanes you have to your advantage. As you can see from the Blackmagic Disk speed test, we've maxed out the dials with some incredible speeds from the SSD. I ran the test again while I wasn't screen recording, and the results were very similar, just a little higher. Compared to the M4 Pro here, which already achieves fantastic speeds, the M5 Pro's read speeds are 87% higher, and the write speeds 61% higher, which broadly supports Apple's claimed 2 times the speed, although their testing was on the 8TB models. Even so, I'm sure you'll agree, fantastic results. Moving on to Geekbench 6, which measures day-to-day speed for when you're browsing the web, checking emails or creating documents. It's not for the heavier tasks, but the better your score here, the more snappy of an experience you're going to have. It's worth pointing out that although the M5 Pro scores higher than the M4 Pro, they are both very speedy machines, and if you don't run intensive programs that require a sustained effort, you're not going to notice a huge difference if you were to upgrade. Having said that, Apple keeps pushing the bar with each new generation of Apple Silicon, and of course, it's great to see the improvements. The next round of testing is with the intensive Cinebench 2026, a 3D rendering benchmark that pushes the M5 Pro to its absolute limit. And although the fans certainly did spin up on this test, compared to my PC, the MacBook Pro is so much quieter under pressure. I ran the single-core test in which the M5 Pro came out 10% faster, the multi-core test, which also sees the M5 Pro on top, by about 20%, but again this version does have 4 more cores to play with. I also ran the new GPU test, which gave me a score of 54,174. Unfortunately, I don't have any M4 Pro test results here to compare to, but if you have an M4 Pro and have done this test, feel free to let us know how yours got on in the comments. Now for the local AI test. I'm going to do something a little different. As I have an RTX 5090 in my desktop PC, I'm going to compare how the M5 Pro chip compares to that, and you may be surprised at the results. First, I've loaded a sub 10GB model onto the 5090, and we're writing the prompt, write a short story about a lonely robot. So as you can see, it's writing the story there quite fast, and that's produced that at 123 tokens per second. Very good. Okay, so back to the MacBook. We'll load the same 8-bit model in here. And we'll write the prompt, write a story about a robot. Wait for it to finish its story about poor Unit 734. So with this model, the MacBook achieved 42 tokens per second. That's not bad, but it's about 3 times slower than the 5090. Now, of course, the 5090 is no slouch, but it's very expensive and maxes out at 32GB VRAM. When we load models larger than 32GB, some of the model spills over onto system RAM and it becomes dramatically slower, whereas on the MacBook Pro we have 64GB of unified memory, meaning that we'll be able to load bigger models without worrying. Now this is where it gets interesting. When we load the model Qwen 3.5B 35 billion parameter model, it's over 35 gigabytes in size. And this is before all the other things that have to go into memory to load the model. So on my PC, the model spills over onto system RAM, as I mentioned before. So again, we've given it the same prompt. Although this is a 35 billion parameter model, it only activates 3 billion of those parameters every time it generates a word. So it's going to be faster than a 35 billion parameter model. That's considered dense, where all the parameters are active. So we can see the 5090 is quite a bit slower than the first test on this one. And after that test, we achieved 36 tokens per second. Now, let's see how the Mac does. So here we are again on the MacBook with Qwen 3.5 model loading. And again, we'll write the same prompt. And you may have noticed that this is a thinking model, which means that it reasons with itself before it gives any output to the user. Now this looks faster than on the 5090. And wow, as you can see, the MacBook is almost double the speed of the machine with a 5090 in it. This blows my mind, as the MacBook's so small in comparison and doesn't make half as much noise. So this was the first look at the new M5 Pro chip in the MacBook Pro. If you'd like to see more reviews or some AI testing on the new MacBook Pro, or indeed the RTX 5090, feel free to drop by again. Thank you so much for watching.